I've got some explosive updates on Donald Trump's hush money trial today, and you're not going to want to miss this. So first up, we got Robert Costello. We got Michael Cohen. Basically, for those of you guys who don't know, Robert Costello is Michael Cohen's former lawyer, and he's revealing some shocking details about the whole grand jury process and how critical evidence was, I would just say, intentionally overlooked. And so now the question is, did his testimony play a key role in getting Donald Trump off the hook? Yeah, but this is not all. We're going to be also talking about the latest twist in the Georgia election interference case, where Donald Trump has filed a major appeal to disqualify prosecutor Fani Willis from this case. This is actually a pretty big development. The legal battle is definitely heating up here, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already, please take a second, just hit the like button for me. I really appreciate you guys. As always, I want to thank you so much for sharing these videos on Facebook and Twitter. You guys are amazing. You guys are awesome. By the way, if you're able to see and hear me okay, please just drop a quick comment. Let me know if we're good on the video and audio. So Robert Costello, he is the former legal advisor to Michael Cohen, and he said that he believes that he should be called to testify. Okay, now this is big here, guys. So he says that the Donald Trump grand jury did not get all of the information that they needed, and that some jurors might have Trump derangement syndrome. Okay, I think you guys know what this means, right? Basically, there's a lot of people in New York, large percentage of non-Donald Trump fans in New York. Bottom line. What's up, Catalia? What's going on, Black Clover Digital? See some of you guys starting to jump into the live. Awesome. But yeah, so Costello, again, who represented Michael Cohen at the start of the federal investigation, he's been released from his attorney-client confidentiality agreement. So he's now able to discuss the case, okay? So he went ahead and joined Bill Hemmer, and Dana Perino earlier today to explain that Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's team did not want to see or even hear any exculpatory information that he provided. Now you got to ask yourself, why is that? Why would Alvin Bragg not want to hear this particular information? Okay, and it's going to become very clear to you guys in just a minute. Now, before Costello testified before the grand jury, he said that he gave Alvin Bragg's assistant DAs the courtesy of about an hour and a half Zoom conference where he told them the exculpatory material that he said was supposed to be put before the grand jury. And I'm going to go ahead and quote him. He said, "But when I appeared before the grand jury, they were asking me questions that, in my opinion, and I've been a federal prosecutor myself, I was a deputy chief in the criminal division in the Southern District of New York. Those questions that they were asking me were not going to elicit the exculpatory information that I had." So in other words, the former attorney for Michael Cohen had some information that he wanted to share. But based on the way that they were asking, based on the way that DA Alvin Bragg's team was asking him questions, they weren't going to be able to pull that information out of him. So he's wondering, why are they doing this? I've already told them that I have this critical information. I'm trying to help this case out. Why are they not asking me the proper questions? So there's a good reason for this. He goes on to say, I began to expand upon my answers, and the DA's office was trying to shut me down. They're trying to shut him down, guys, saying that I had finished my answer. So imagine you're providing an answer. Your answer might be, I don't know, it might take you 2 minutes to answer it. He's about a minute into his explanation, and then they just cut him off saying, you're done. But what you see what I'm saying? He went on to say, I told them that when I'm in the middle of answering a question, I'll decide when I finish my answer, and I asked them not to interrupt me again. So clearly he was getting pissed off with the DA. I wish I could have seen DA Alvin Bragg's face. But he goes on to say, basically, they only put in a small cherry-picked group of emails. Keep in mind, this is Michael Cohen's ex-lawyer. He went on to say, I presented maybe 200 to 300 emails and text messages to them. Now, this is a bombshell revelation here, guys. Quick thank you to Terry Stratus. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Let's see. Just watched Vivek's post today, a must watch. Oh, okay. Appreciate it. I'll make sure to check that one out after this live. So Costello went on to say that they put 2 or 3 into evidence. And when he asked if they had planned to put the rest of them into evidence, they told him no. Keep in mind, he provided 200 to 300 emails and texts, but you only put 2 or 3 in there. Why is that? Why is that? So when Costello asked why, he was told that there was a legal issue with him. Really? So Costello, again, Michael Cohen's former lawyer, goes on to say, quote, I simply said to the grand jurors, I said, you people should demand these documents. So this is what he's saying to the grand jury, okay? So he goes on to say, you should demand to see everything in chronological order so you can get the real view of what Michael Cohen was like in those days at the moment in time. And then ask yourself this question. Why are they trying to keep these documents from me? So, okay. So he's now having this conversation with the grand juries, letting them know, look, you're not getting the full picture here. And the only way to get the full picture is if you guys demand to see all 200 to 300 emails and documents and text messages that I've provided to DA Alvin Bragg's office. This is what he's saying to the grand jury, because otherwise they wouldn't know what kind of evidence exists out there except for what they were provided. So Michael Cohen's ex-lawyer goes on to say, well, after that, I left the grand jury. I have no idea whether they put the documents into evidence or what happened. He went on to say, but subsequently, Donald Trump was indicted, and you've seen the fruits of that indictment in this trial, which is a trial about something that's not a crime. So ultimately he predicted that because the trial is taking place in New York City, he believes that some jurors might have what's being referred to as Trump derangement syndrome, which is likely going to impact their decision. Now, we already called this. I mean, there was a very high percentage of folks who live in New York, who are New York residents, who do not like Donald Trump. They don't support him. Some of them even hate him. So he went on to say, quote, I understand that 87% of the voters voted not for Donald Trump in the last election. So you have to assume that there is Trump derangement syndrome out there and that this jury will be reflective of that. Basically, what we've been saying all along, it's not likely for Donald Trump to get a fair trial. I mean, we went over all the details. We went over the interviews that these jurors were going through and some of these weird people who got kicked out. But again, it's not likely to get a fair trial. So he goes on to say, so this means that there are some people who are on this jury who will vote to convict Donald Trump no matter what evidence is presented or what evidence is not presented. So this is a big deal. It's I feel like now, obviously, Donald Trump's lead attorney on this particular hush money case in Manhattan, his name is Todd Blanche. But it's almost like Donald Trump has another attorney here, because again, this guy he's a former prosecutor, and he's clearly going to bat for Donald Trump here. And what he says really, in my opinion, gets Donald Trump off the hook. But ultimately, he predicted that, because the trial is taking place in New York City, he believes some jurors might have Donald Trump derangement syndrome, which is likely to impact the decision. He went on to say that I understand that 87% of the voters voted not for Donald Trump in the last election. So we have to assume that there is Trump derangement syndrome in this jury. And so it will be reflective of that. So this means that there are some people in here who will vote to convict Donald Trump regardless or not. But he went on to say, I even said to him, Michael, think about this. He's talking about Michael Cohen right now. So Michael Cohen's ex-attorney, Robert Costello, right now said to Michael Cohen, he says, hey, look, I even said to him, Michael, think about this. Isn't it easier to cooperate against Donald Trump if you have truthful information than it is to kill yourself? Oh, yeah. And you might be thinking to yourselves, what are you talking about killing yourself? Oh, we're going to get to that in just a second, guys. All right. Well, his answer was obvious. That was his moment in time, okay? According to Costello. He went on to say, if he had something truthful to say, I'm willing to cooperate. But he didn't take that. He kept on basically saying, I have nothing on Donald Trump. So this is Michael Cohen's ex-lawyer testifying that Michael Cohen admitted that he has nothing on Donald Trump. The only thing that he have on Donald Trump would be something that he would have had to have made up. He would have had to lie. So either he's lying to Robert Costello, who is his former attorney, or he's lying on the stand during testimony. But when you're dealing with a liar, it's hard to tell when they're lying, when they're not. How much of the story that they're telling is true, how much of it is a lie. This is really why you just want to just get the person off the stand, hit them with perjury and get rid of them, because you can't even trust anything that they're saying. But this is what we have to go on so far. Kind of like what we experienced with Fani Willis. It's like, all right, are you telling the truth now? Are you lying now? Like, which is it, right? Anyway, we'll talk about Fani Willis in a little bit. So then when discussing the Stormy Daniels NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, Robert Costello said Cohen specifically told him that it was his idea to take care of the NDA because he had been contacted by a lawyer for Stormy Daniels who said that she was going to claim that Donald Trump had sex with her. Okay. So Cohen said, I didn't believe the allegation, but nevertheless, it would be embarrassing to Melania. That's what Michael Cohen's words. That's Michael Cohen's words, he said. And so I decided to take care of it myself. This is what Costello said. He went on to say, now he took out a home equity loan for $130,000 and used that. And he did tell us that he got repaid later. Okay, so that's where Michael Cohen got the money, the $130,000 to, make this, or allegedly where he got this $130,000 to make the initial Stormy Daniels hush money payment to, whatever. So Costello, he said that he's not been subpoenaed, and whether he will be called to testify hasn't been decided yet, and is probably dependent on what happens in court today. Today's Thursday, May 16th. But Costello said that he believes that he should be called. Now, we're going to have to wait until tomorrow and see what happens, because we have heard clear testimony that Robert Costello has some clear, obvious information that he wants to get out here. But DA Bragg's office realizes that, hey, God dang it, this Robert Costello guy, he's not going to help this case. First of all, we already heard from Stormy Daniels. She didn't help DA Bragg's case one bit. She made this dude look like a fool. Then you got Michael Cohen, who really actually helped Donald Trump more than anything else. He didn't try to help Donald Trump on purpose, but his testimony did end up helping Donald Trump in the long run, simply because he divulged a lot of information that he didn't realize was actually going to be helpful to Donald Trump's legal team. So he goofed up on that one and mistakenly handed Donald Trump a big, huge win on that one. So it's funny, in Michael Cohen's hatred toward Donald Trump, he inadvertently helps the guy out who he hates the most. He's got T-shirts that are like basically saying Trump's going to jail. Trump's going to prison. Trump, instead of Trump 2024, it's like Trump 20 to 40. So this guy is making all sorts of gestures outside of court. Meanwhile, there's no gag order on Michael Cohen. Judge Juan Merchan doesn't care what this guy says or does outside the courtroom. It's a kangaroo court, as Donald Trump would put it. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who's just trying to live his life and run for the 2024 presidential election, he's the only one who gets hit with a gag order. It's unbelievable, guys. It's unbelievable. By the way, if you guys haven't already, please do your boy a favor, hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. Those of you guys who are just now coming in, bombshell, new information coming in from Michael Cohen's ex-lawyer, his former lawyer, who has effectively let Donald Trump off the hook on this one, with some major updates today in the Donald Trump, Stormy Daniels DA Bragg hush money trial going on in Manhattan, New York right now. But I also wanted to give you guys a quick update on Fani Willis. Donald Trump is filing. He actually just filed it just hours ago. Donald Trump files a notice of appeal to disqualify DA Fani Willis from the Georgia election interference case. Now, the earliest that the court could have heard this appeal would be August, and the latest would actually be spring of 2025. Okay. Now, former President Donald Trump, as of today, Thursday, just hours ago, he has officially filed a notice of appeals to the Georgia Court of Appeals, formalizing Donald Trump's bid to overturn a court decision and to disqualify Georgia prosecutor Fani Willis from the case against him. Now, obviously, Donald Trump's not the only one involved in this Georgia election interference case against Fani Willis and ex-special prosecutor Nathan Wade, right? So you have Mark Meadows, you got Rudy Giuliani, Kathy Latham, and Michael Roman, who's represented by the very famous Ashley Merchant, who dropped a bombshell testimony and information regarding this illicit relationship, secret relationship that was being had between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. That was a big, huge update, which obviously took place months ago. So Nathan Wade's off the case now. But you got Mark Meadows, you got Rudy Giuliani, Kathy Latham, and Michael Roman. They've all filed their notices on of appeal as of Monday. So they got their appeals in earlier than Donald Trump did in this particular case, by a couple of days. Joining former Georgia GOP head David Schaefer in kicking off the briefing processes before the court. So, and I quote, President Trump, he looks forward to presenting the interlocutory agreements to the Georgia Court of Appeals as to why the court should be dismissed and Fulton County DA Fani Willis should be disqualified for her misconduct in this unjustified, unwarranted political persecution. And so this is what Donald Trump's lawyer, Steve Sadow, said earlier in a statement. So this is big. Now, March 18th, let's go back just a little bit. March 18th, Donald Trump and several of his co-defendants, they requested permission from Judge Scott McAfee to appeal his decision. Then on March 20th, Judge Scott McAfee granted that request. If we go forward just a little bit, March 29th, attorneys for Donald Trump and his co-defendants, they filed an application for interlocutory appeal, arguing that Nathan Wade's departure did not resolve the appearance of the impropriety, and that it had cast basically a pall over all these entire proceedings. So in other words, Nathan Wade leaving the case wasn't enough. You need to get Fani's butt out of here too. So by May 8th, which was like last week, I think last Tuesday or Wednesday, May 8th, the Georgia Court of Appeals agreed to hear the appeal. So that was another big step in the right direction, giving Donald Trump and his 14 co-defendants 10 days to file a notice of appeal. 10 days. So 10 days from the 8th would have been the 18th. So Donald Trump's lawyers kind of almost waited to the last minute to appeal, which it don't matter. He got it in on time, but I'm just saying. That gave Donald Trump and his 14 other co-defendants 10 days to appeal or file for a notice of appeal, which will transfer the case from Fulton County Superior Court to the Court of Appeals. And so now the earliest the Court of Appeals could possibly hear this appeal would be August, and the latest would be spring of 2025. So massive update. And this is a big, huge win for Donald Trump all the way around. Donald Trump looks like he's winning up and down the whole East Coast right now. Between the Stormy Daniels hush money trial, DA Bragg picking all the worst witnesses in the world. All his star witnesses have been, booby traps for him and blowing up in his face. So big win for Trump in New York. Big win for Trump in New Jersey. You guys saw the rally just the other day. Donald Trump campaigning on the beach. Had like 80 or 100,000 people show up for that one in a predominantly blue state. That was a big deal. Shows a lot about how people up in the tri-state area are starting to feel about Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. So it's going to be real interesting come November. assuming nobody's cheating in this election this time around. But yeah, big news, guys, big news. So if you haven't already, please take a second, hit the like button for the video. If you haven't already, also consider sharing this video with a friend or a loved one. Thank you for also subscribing to the channel. You guys are amazing. What's up, Terry? Let's see, Terry. Let's see. I hope he sues more than just Cohen, more like the whole New York court system. Oh yeah, man. And I've said this before. Donald Trump, once he's got a lot on his plate right now. But once he gets his footing again, I mean, trying to battle 4 different legal cases, campaigning for the 2024 presidential election, that's a lot. Not to mention running multiple businesses across different states. That's when we say we're busy, a lot of folks say, "Oh, I'm busy. I can't go to the gym or something like that." Donald Trump is for real busy. Like I don't know anybody busier than him right now. But anyway, I hope you guys appreciated the show, appreciated the content, and enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.